Hello, everybody. Man, oh man, it is May 17, 2025. Okay, I woke up this morning. Yeah, the first video that I see is the tornado in Kentucky. There were several areas that got hit. London, Kentucky seems to have been hit the hardest. And I had to kind of like walk away. I'm like, wow. Okay. Walked away just for a little bit. It's so overwhelming, the amount of destruction that we are seeing on a daily basis. On a daily basis. People losing their homes, people being pushed off the cliff, people dying. And, I don't know. What will it take for people to actually do some research? Or even just play a video of somebody else who has done the research. This is obviously something that begs questions every single day. We see people losing their homes and losing loved ones or businesses just from weather. All right. It's, and this kind of tornado that does this kind of destruction that you're going to see in a moment is the kind of event that mainstream media would be playing, day after day. And now it's just so commonplace that I think people, maybe they're just getting used to it. Are they getting used to it? I don't, I can't get used to this. Not at all. Not at all. So, Super Dave, hi. Thank you for coming in. Geofactor 3 in Vandenberg, and it'll change in a minute. Yeah. Don E. Geofactor 3, Wolfie, Stephanie Martin. 5 minutes into the live stream yesterday. Currently, I am located on storm buildup line, charged skies. Where are you located? Pandy Maz. By the way, I responded to your email. I don't know if you got it. Stack Stevenson. All hell broke loose. Yes, it did. G Toulouse. Carolina Dream. Laura Ann. You're in North Tennessee. Crazy microwave clouds all day yesterday. And illusion is over. All right. So much that I decided to go early just with these tornadoes. Amazing Grace, yes, from London, Kentucky. Were you, I don't know how big, the size of London, Kentucky, but did you actually, well, obviously you lived through this tornado, but if you want to join in, I'm just going to go through some information and then, we'd love to hear from you. I can't imagine living through something like this. It must be terrifying. Well, based on everything that I've heard from people, it is terrifying. But let's look at radar right now. Current radar. All right. Texas, you've got your supercell activation going. Mississippi, wow, you've got your Doppler radar, the extremely low frequencies blasting away, and a supercell. It looks like these weather fronts are moving rather quickly. Up north, you have up in New York, heading into Vermont, supercells. It's nonstop. So 12 active severe weather warnings: Mississippi, New York, Texas, Vermont, Wyoming. Wyoming? Wow, okay. Well, you do have your supercell activation, and I'm going to play some of this nanotechnology involved in our weather later on in this broadcast, but the activation with the extremely low frequency, this cutout that you can see very clearly, extremely low frequencies. What do they use them for? A number of things, but weather, to steer weather fronts, to um, modify weather, to intensify storms. You know, we now have Lego precipitation. Look at this, all of the squared off so-called cells. So, yeah, severe weather again. No tornado warnings, but it doesn't matter now because these severe thunderstorms bring about tornadic activity and the full gamut, the very large hail, straight line winds. I say this over and over again, flash flooding. So in New York, you have Fulton, Hamilton, Herkimer, Warren, Saratoga, and Washington counties. Wyoming, it's Lincoln County. Texas, Comanche, Hamilton, Mills County. Mississippi, Rankin County. Vermont, Chittenden, uh, Lamoli, I don't know how you pronounce these counties, and Washington and Vermont. Also Orleans and Franklin in Vermont. Texas, Mason and San Saba counties. Bennington, Vermont as well. Texas as well. You've got Brown, Coleman, McCulloch counties. Oneida, New York. Warren and Washington, New York. Essex and Addison, New York. I hope everybody is taking very seriously this severe weather, because you know, if you're not taking it seriously at this point, after seeing so much destruction, I don't know what to tell you. Bookmark sites where you can check them out periodically throughout the day. Unfortunately, they do bring about an awful lot of destruction during the wee hours of the morning, as they did last night. But yeah, more severe weather just beginning. Ryan Hall, not going to play the whole thing, but I will play. He does a recap of, you know, his. He was doing a live yesterday for 13 hours. But here we go. Man, it's hard to take. Oh, I don't know about any of you, but I'm feeling the impact, but I know I'm not feeling what other people have gone through, what those who are suffering the consequences of this weather warfare.
25, and we've got a ton of weather to talk about today, man. We've got an outbreak sequence on the way. There's going to be multiple days of more severe weather, and I just wanted to make this video to keep you updated on what's going on, because I don't think we're going to have a lot of time to make videos over the next few days, because we're just going to be live all the time, and I know a lot of y'all really depend on these short form videos to kind of get all the information in one area. So let's roll through this. But real quick, before we dive into the details of the forecast, let's recap what's happened yesterday. We had a major tornado outbreak. We were live for 13 hours covering this crazy system that spawned tornadoes in Illinois. There was one that went through St. Louis. Look at this thing. You could see it through the arch camera there in St. Louis. It just about went through downtown, caused a ton of damage out there across St. Louis, and we were live for that. We were also live for this tornado. It went through Linton, Indiana, Sullivan County, Indiana. There was another big one and over towards Marion, Illinois, and unfortunately, this led to a lot of damage. And the last I heard is we're getting close to 25, maybe 30 fatalities reported as a result of this tornado outbreak. And the number's still going up because search and rescue is still going on in a lot of these places. And we've got a lot of injury reports. And of course, unfortunately, there are hundreds of people today that are homeless as a result of yesterday's unfortunate tornado outbreak. Now, Colin Gross on Twitter put together this graphic here that shows one of our most prolific storms yesterday actually was a supercell that traveled for about 500 miles from the middle of Missouri all the way over into eastern Kentucky. This is the one that is responsible for most of our fatalities, actually. A lot of those came from London, Kentucky, and Somerset, Kentucky, between Wayne, Pulaski, and Laurel counties. This is over here close to the weather house. We were live last night as this thing was ripping up communities out here, and unfortunately, this is one of the places where they're still doing search and rescue right now. We don't know what the overall death toll is going to be, unfortunately, because the damage is so prolific out here. Now, this wasn't producing a tornado the entire time, but it produced several tornadoes, and it's just unbelievable that this thing traveled that far. And it was strong. We don't know the rating yet. In my opinion, it's probably going to be rated an EF4. Who knows? You know, there's engineers and stuff out there trying to figure it out right now. But this thing ate a literal path through the forest between London and Somerset. Look at this. You could actually see it on satellite this morning. You can see the scar on the earth. This is Somerset, this is London, and this is the path that it tore in between those two areas. Now, of course, it also hit Somerset and London, both on the southern side. These pictures here are from Deputy Alan Turner in Laurel County, Kentucky, and it's just so unfortunate seeing this. This isn't even the worst of it. I've seen some really crazy looking damage photos from WX Chasing on YouTube. If you want to look up that video, it really puts into perspective how bad it was, especially around London, Kentucky. And once again, y'all, you can look at this and you can just tell that unfortunately the number of injured and the number of people that we've lost is going to continue to go up, even though we had a lot of people watching from this area last night, and we did have tornado warnings and all that stuff. There's only so much you can do whenever the tornadoes are this strong. A tornado of this caliber is not common in this part of the world. A lot of people just didn't know what to do. The London Corbin Airport was also hit here, and they lost their medical helicopters, and there's a lot of homes and a lot of residential areas around that airport that were unfortunately completely obliterated as well. So once again, it was a crazy outbreak. Unfortunately, it happened, and now we've got to work on getting everybody back on their feet, which is what I'm going to be focused on over the next couple of days, while also continuing to relay information about new severe weather outbreaks that are about to happen. So our hands are kind of full over here at the weather house, but we're able to give back and we're able to help people because of you. Last night, a lot of you beautiful people went over to the y'allsquad.org and you were very generous. You hit this donate button, and we raised about $80,000 from y'all in a very short period of time. I went in there and I stacked another $10,000 on top of that, so we've got 90 grand to go out into these communities and immediately get assistance going. We're talking with local officials, we're seeing what people need, and we're just going to do whatever makes sense as we feel it out. We don't have a complete plan yet, but what's going to help is more resources, right? You're not required to do it. We're not asking anybody to donate, but if you've got an extra dollar or two, whatever you've got, consider going over to the y'allsquad.org and helping us get that number maybe over 100,000, 150,000. That goes a long way in really making a difference in these people's lives out here who might get missed by FEMA, who might get missed by insurance, right? That's where we try to fill the gap. We go in there and we say, who are the people that need stuff, like who's taken care of, who's not, and we try to fill the gap. And the Y'all Squad's going to show up not just in Somerset and London, out here in Kentucky, but we're also going to be out there in Illinois and Missouri. So every dollar counts. Once again, I can't thank you enough to everybody that's went over and donated. And make sure you follow us on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and all that good stuff as we release rapid fire updates about what we're doing on the ground in these
All right. The link is in the chat. And you can listen to the end of the broadcast where he's talking about the severe weather that is taking place. You know, the severe weather warnings, the Vermont, the Texas, all over. All right. So if you can donate, great. If you're close to these areas, you can go down and help people out. This was pretty bad. Not that um, we've seen a whole lot of damage every single day. The scale of this is really intense. And people need help. People really need help. So I also want to start this with, once again, weather modification by artificial satellites. I will post the link. How you can create tornadoes. And I happen to think that between the nanotechnology and this method is probably the most common tools that they use. Satellite weather modification system uses Earth satellites to harness solar energy to modify the thermodynamics and composition of the Earth's atmosphere. It's a very long patent. They go into details of how they could create different kinds of weather patterns, what frequencies they use. But for the tornadoes, let's, wherever the highlighting shows up, features relating to basic weather modification techniques. How about features relating to modifying global weather conditions? And features relating to modifying local weather conditions. Features relating to moving an air mass upwards. Features relating to modifying an air mass's horizontal velocity component. When I've been showing the different air masses moving in different directions, electromagnetic frequencies, and yes, they can create tornadoes, they can increase precipitation, but here, features relating to creating whirlwinds can be used. This method can be used to move two air masses in opposite directions or in the same direction, but at a different speeds. These air masses are offset by a small distance. This process will create a whirlwind or a small tornado, or how about a big tornado? Whirlwind or tornado strength can be increased or decreased by combining and colliding many smaller whirlwinds, rotating in the same direction or opposite directions, thus creating a stronger or weaker whirlwind. But when you hear whirlwind, you think tornado. They can also warm land, sea, air. So when you know that man has the technology to do this, and then you see all of the massive destruction, I have shown over and over again the immediacy of the manifestation of supercells in a line, defined line, sometimes stretching from state to state. In one particular area of Texas, you see it over and over again. You have to wonder. It begs questions.
At least 21 people are dead after.
No, well, since this, I think the number is up to 23, but search and rescue is still going on.
tornadoes and severe storms ripped through Missouri, Kentucky, and Indiana on Friday.
Katie Byrne joins us now from the hard-hit St. Louis area with more. Katie?
Good morning, Rachel. Well, the mayor of St. Louis says they're grieving 5 lives lost here in the city of St. Louis. And tragically, we know one of those lives lost was a woman who took cover inside of this church and tragically got trapped underneath the rubble. We're seeing scenes like this across the neighborhood here, just roofs partially torn off of homes, churches, businesses, trees are down, damage is widespread. Police have blocked off roads. They enforced a curfew overnight too. Many homes and businesses are totally exposed to the elements. The roofs and walls are completely gone. The city says at least 5,000 homes have been damaged, and the storms hit just before dinner time. People say they didn't have too much time, maybe just moments to run and take cover. And neighbors, when they look at the damage, say that it's absolutely heartbreaking.
Normally, the storm passes over. It didn't do it this time. It came through here.
Now we're expecting an update from police in about an hour from now. I'll send it back to you.
Vandenberg, I don't like people promoting selfishness and self-centeredness, and keep your money and build your own safety zones. Yeah, that'll get us somewhere. At least 23 dead as storms batter states from the heartland to the East Coast. 600,000 customers without power. Let's just check what's happening. So, in Michigan, there are 123,385 people without power. And Illinois, or Missouri, 71,239. Illinois, 15,182. Indiana, 20,469. 35,399 in Ohio. West Virginia, you've got 24,261. Virginia, you've got 35,173. And Maryland, 16,862. Wow. Alabama, 13,811. And Kentucky, 69,911. So, a lot of the destruction came after midnight. 23 people reported dead, 14 people killed in Kentucky. No, it's now 17. 7 in Missouri, 2 in Virginia. I don't know what these people are going to do. At least 26 tornadoes were reported from Friday storms, Kentucky, Indiana, Missouri, Illinois, and 1 in New Jersey. Softball-size hail was reported in Barlow, Kentucky, near Sullivan, Indiana, with greater than tennis ball-size hail reported locally from Texas to Ohio. Yeah, 15 states reported storm damage from hail, winds, tornadoes, from Missouri up to Michigan, out to New Jersey. From the Northeast, the highest threat is centered over portions of upstate New York. This is now western Massachusetts, most of Vermont, western New Hampshire, including Burlington, Vermont, Springfield, Massachusetts. Wow. That's where I practiced law. And Albany, New York. Seems that they're going after the major cities. Primary risks being damaging winds, large hail, few isolated tornadoes. Yeah, tornadoes were known for it. Well, I'm not there now, but Springfield, Massachusetts, Burlington, Vermont, Albany, New York. All right. Search and rescue still ongoing.
Did declare a state of emergency in the Bluegrass State yesterday ahead of the severe weather that moved in. His office said yesterday the Kentucky National Guard is on standby and the Emergency Operations Center is running. Price gouging precautions are also in effect. Parts of Kentucky are devastated, and as people wake up to major storm damage, again, we've learned nine people are dead, in Laurel County. That's according to the Laurel Whitley County Emergency Management Office. And our 10 News reporter, Emily Crabtree, is live in Laurel County, Kentucky. You made the drive up this morning. What are you seeing there so far, Emily?
Yeah, Aaron, we're seeing devastation across the town. We came in and the road we were on is actually closed to the public. You have to talk with some officers before you go through. Along that road is the neighborhood that was most severely affected by the tornado. There are complete devastation, homes completely leveled or destroyed. Debris goes across the highway and across even further than that into some nearby fields. We talked to a PIO out of the Nichols Fire Department, and he says that they're still working to gather some information. He's been here since 5 in the morning. He says right now agencies are trying to piece together what exactly happened and figure out, who's still here, what they can find, looking for people and pets like we've mentioned before. Now they said that search and rescue is still ongoing. There were 10 mandatory heavy spaces that agencies started looking through. So far, they've completed 6 searches of those mandatory heavy spaces. And it seems to them like most people were evacuated ahead of time. And so they weren't, in all of that tornado as it came through.
But the numbers are going to increase. So Live Storms Media, that I can't play because I would get a copyright strike, but the link is in the chat, and pretty devastating. Quite right. London, Kentucky, up close. Yeah, up close. All the people trying to recover whatever they can from their destroyed homes. Look at this. Planes. Look at this. Or a helicopter. And planes. So when you look at this and then you think about our fabulous economy, and you know that so many people are really struggling, a whole lot of people don't have insurance because they can't afford it. And, in these areas, I would bet a lot of people don't have it. So, yeah. Now, I want to post the link. I've recommended this channel before. I'm recommending it again. A walk through disaster. Look at the clouds. Nobody talks about the clouds. This is Jonathan Petramala. It's 9 minutes. I'm just going to play a few minutes. God, so many won't be able to recover.
Dawn is breaking here in London, Kentucky, and you're able to see what you feared the most when you saw through the flashing lights in the overnight hours. You saw bits and pieces and you expected violence and destruction, but once you see it with daylight, it hits differently. We're not just talking about remains of homes left behind, pieces of homes. We're talking about homes completely wiped away here to the very foundation of where they sat, the concrete foundation. This is exhibiting signs of violence that you only see in the strongest of tornadoes, EF3, EF4 plus tornadoes. And it happened at the worst possible time, the overnight hours. People, despite the fact there were so many tornadoes throughout the region, still let their guard down often. And that's when you see the rates of fatalities spike, is in the overnight hours. And unfortunately appears that's what happened here. The combination of the violent strength of this tornado and the late hour, close to midnight, when this monster tore through here.
I knew they were giving possible severe weather, and I looked at it earlier in the day, or later in the day, I forget, but it looked like it might not get too bad. And I went to bed thinking everything would be all right, but when I heard the crash, no, it's not all right, but and I see that over there this morning, see that over there, because that was in the night when I was up and out and about. And this lady that lives right here, she was across the street over in the lawn over there, waiting for the ambulance to come and get her. And, but anyway, first, I'll be 80 next month, is my first one.
You can see some homes appeared to escape relatively unharmed. But then you have others that appear to be ripped completely away from where they sat, the foundation. This was a long track tornado on the ground for well over an hour and a half. Incredibly, the supercell that created this tornado actually formed well to the west in Missouri on Friday afternoon. It dropped several tornadoes throughout the afternoon, early evening. But this is likely the zenith of that supercell strength, the tornado that it dropped, just absolutely demolishing these homes that sat in its path in that overnight hours.
My mom's purse.
Where is that? The one right here?
Yeah, the pink ball.
Right here.
Yeah.
Yep. Here we go. Let's see if we can.
Not very valuable for this.
Well, there's not only that, it's the sentimental value, right? Oh man. There we go. Absolutely. You're welcome. All right, guys. And unfortunately, you see sad signs like this. We know that this was a fatal incident, with several coroners here in the area pulling in to this neighborhood in white vans just like these that are passing, and taking with them victims of this nocturnal nightmare of a tornado. First responders working throughout the night to clear each and every home, or what's left of homes, to ensure that the occupants were able to escape safely, or, and unfortunately too many cases, unable to escape with their life. And now, in the distance, you see crews undertaking the grisly work of removing some of these victims.
All right, the link is in the chat. He speaks to two more people that he bumps into. Do you, when you're watching something like this, imagine yourself in their place and what happens? What you might be feeling if it happened to you? And yeah, I have often wondered about all of the people. So this is Kentucky. In Missouri, you have 5,000 homes damaged. In St. Louis area. What happens to them? What happens to all of the people who have lost their homes? So many we don't hear from. It's, and for many, many years, we've seen this kind of destruction over and over and over again. Each year, what's happening with all of those people? You know, we don't have 330 million. Interesting how they seem to like to say 330 million. Yeah, all of the floodings, even since Harvey, year after year after year, all of the fires. Now I know an awful lot, you know, end up either at friends or family, and they're the lucky ones. But there are so many more that we just don't hear from them. Do they just become, you know, merged in with the homeless population? All right, here's another patent method and device of weakening tornadoes. This invention is for reducing tornado energy and even interrupting tornadoes. They have many methods to weaken and to literally just, you know, kill off tornadoes. Funny how they just don't use those tools. This is Laurel County. This is in Missouri. Am I right about that? Or is it Kentucky? It's hard to keep in, you know, mind all of the different places because it's Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Missouri, and I don't have any doubt that there's a lot of damage in other states from those storms.
Those houses destroyed belonged to this woman and her family. This is Mahala Watts. Mahala.
All right, Laurel County, I'm sorry. This is Kentucky.
Take me through kind of 11 to midnight last night. What's going on?
We just were watching the news and we started getting the warnings on our phones and we didn't know what to do. We almost left and tried to get to Corbin because we didn't think it was going to hit in Corbin, but grabbed my dog and we got in our bathroom that's right in the center of the house, and immediately like we started to hear it and we got down on our hands and knees, and all of a sudden it just rushed over top of us, breathing in all the debris. The mirror in the bathroom fell on top of me.
Oh my God.
And eventually it stopped. We just kind of were praying, you know, scared it was going to come back.
Yeah.
And then got up. Our fridge we couldn't get over the fridge. I mean, we had no idea. The roof was gone.
So the fridge was blocking the bathroom door there.
Yeah, the fridge was blocking
Wow.
us. We had to climb over the fridge somehow. My mom is, she can't move around very well. So that was a struggle to even get her through this mess. And we went out the back. But then there was people helping us and like, oh, there's another one going to hit. And I started freaking out because we're out here now. But we eventually, my uncle's car worked because all of our cars are destroyed.
Come with me because I want to show your dad's car, which is this white car here. And then when we come around to the other side, this is your car.
Yeah, that's my car. It was,
my God.
Yeah, it was under a carport. Carport's gone. My dad's truck was actually over there in the yard. Yeah, and my mom's van was back there.
The storm moved your dad's truck like 15 feet on top of your car.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. And you were saying your mom's car, which is that blue minivan there.
Yeah, it was up here in front of the house, and now it's way back there. Windows blown out.
Where do we go from here?
I have no idea. Right now, like, we got a hotel for the night, but I mean, we didn't sleep. My dog is just hanging out there, and we're just kind of sorting through our stuff. I have no idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
The process of picking up the pieces begins for many residents here in Laurel County. 9 people did die during last night's storm, many more injured. We are told that government officials are set to be in Laurel County a little bit later today. We'll be back a little bit. We'll see you then.
Well, you know, there's a reason why they're bringing all of this massive, destructive, severe weather, midnight, and then into the wee hours to kill off a lot of people. That's, you know, it's a great time to get an awful lot of people dead. Yeah, I think a lot of people who would listen to me would think, oh my God, she's just so crazy. Well, you're not very informed. That's all I can say. Yeah. Now, all right, no one's coming in. And I was thinking, while I was watching, this, there was one storm in Great Barrington, Massachusetts that really scared me. And I thought, because there was a tornado that came through Great Barrington, Massachusetts, and I was looking at the sky and I'm thinking, this is not good. This is not good. And I drove to a place where I could just park my car, and I thought, all right, this is a pretty good, place to not get the car just destroyed. And then in South Carolina, we had a storm, and I was walking around with my friend. The trees were down. I remember feeling like just looking at these massive trees that were just lying down. And you're kind of left with a feeling of, wow, all right. Then I did go to Baton Rouge because the massive flooding that they experienced, I think in either 16 or 2017. And I was horrified by the scale because there's a focus on one or two particular areas that have been hit hard, and then they forget about all of the other areas. So these massive floods that we've had, right? Harvey, it's Houston. No, take it out. Every single time we have these kinds of events, do not think that it was just contained in London, Kentucky, or St. Louis, Missouri. I learned my lesson when I drove out to Baton Rouge. I had to see it for myself, and I was horrified at the scale because, Baton Rouge proper, but it was also a whole lot of areas. And then driving through the streets and seeing all of the belongings outside, on the sidewalk. So when I see things like this, I know that there are other areas where people are really suffering the consequences. And I can't, my most horrifying was Baton Rouge, the effects of this severe weather. I can't imagine walking around the streets and seeing this kind of destruction. It is horrifying. It's just, especially when you know that, yes, man, with all of their weather tools, can bring about this destruction. Tornadoes used to come, they didn't come at midnight or after. They came in, the afternoon or late afternoon. So now, really? Wow. So this is WX Chasing, and he also captured quite a bit. And I have to wonder too, all right, some people have the shelters, right? But a whole lot of people don't. And how did they survive? 17 dead? Look at this. Look at what it has done to these homes. You know, pickup sticks. Yeah. And then we look at the sky and we see it, you know, we see it. Look at this. Whoa. Oh my God. B-Dub, sorry that happened. What an incredibly stupid thing to say. Sent a good friend who's educated a meme of chemtrail spraying. He replies, "Stop bludgeoning me with your belief structure." What is wrong with people? Well, St. Louis, I don't know how many people can access their underground tunnels. They have basements, okay. Storm chaser. Look at I mean, they're literally brought to sticks. This is another storm chaser channel, so I can't. You'll get a copyright strike if you play any of these videos. Marion, Illinois, by the way. This is not London, Kentucky. This is Marion, Illinois. A lot of people really hurting. Storm damage reported across Indiana. I don't know why I have it all the way over here, but
Out for the night, unable to get home, and some without additional accommodation. Now, we have heard reports of other damages further south. We are working to confirm those for you, and we'll bring you any updates we have right here on Wish TV. I'm Danielle Zulkowski for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
So, a lot of damage in Indiana, a lot of damage in Illinois. Yeah, Red Cross is out helping people, hopefully. Will they be helping? Some people do get helped, okay. But unfortunately, an awful lot of the funding for Red Cross goes to the higher ups in salary.
And normally last time they went off, there was actually tornadoes that touched down. And it was like in the country though, but I was kind of scared, but it wasn't too bad this time. Yeah. It was just really dark and getting light. I couldn't barely see the road either. That's when it started hailing, is when I couldn't see the road. And that's when it started getting really bad.
Other areas around south of Indianapolis, we've heard of reports of golf ball size, maybe even softball sized hail.
And it wasn't just the hail, Tim. We want to show you a couple of photos from near Monrovia out in Morgan County. Here you can see some wind damage here. Drew Narsutis was tracking it all evening and talking about possible gusts of 60 to 70 miles an hour.
All right, and let's bring in.
And this Indiana hail. So you can imagine the amount of destruction this hail caused. Look at the size of that. Wow. And then think about wildlife and all of the stray four-leggeds out there. So this Can't believe I forgot again. WTHR. Well, it doesn't mean it's from there. Monroe County, 75 homes damaged. Let's see if we hear the state.
Places that was hit the hardest. And Anna, I can only imagine what these homeowners are going through, as it looks like a pile of debris just right behind you.
Well,
Matthew, you're exactly right. I mean, just.
All right, WTHR. Indiana.
A lot of fear, a lot of sadness, so many emotions out here today. I'll tell you where I'm standing. This was a barn that was rented out to Habitat for Humanity for them to store things. And, you know, they're a big part of communities here. And just to know that all of their stuff was damaged, I'll tell you some of the stuff that's been laying around. This is about the only thing that's not glass, wood, or wires, just a container of plates right now. We have so much in this area. So the property owner over here, he was telling me he has a home over here, has a little destruction to the back, but mainly it is the barns on his property. He said they actually just moved people out of that house a month ago. So he said he's very thankful no one here specifically in this spot was hurt. But we do know in Monroe County as a whole, 5 people injured, around 75 homes were damaged in some capacity. Over here, we're next to the Economy Inn. A lot of people coming in and out of that area. We've been speaking to people who say they were in there last night when the storm was coming through, trying to get their neighbors out. But again, so much damage here behind me. Crews just making sure everything is cleaned up out of the road, so it's just a safer area as people are driving through, because we've seen the traffic pick up here significantly. We'll have a closer look at all of this damage coming up at 9:30.
All right. So
Perry, I don't know what is up with you, but you don't think it was man-made. You think it was man-augmented. It's hilarious the lengths they go to convince everyone they are creating this. Are you kidding me? Is it God? God? Still Mother Nature? She hasn't been put into retirement? Marion, Illinois. I don't know, man. And this is in St. Louis, Missouri.
What are you seeing out there today?
It's okay, sweetheart. Wow. All right. Whole lot of wind just suddenly came about, scaring little one. It's okay. All right. So here.
Yeah, Michelle and Rennie, just really devastated this morning. So many people stopping by to see the only Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. statue in our city lying on its back here. Those high winds just toppled it over. There in the distance, you can see a home that is completely crumbled. I mean, there is nothing left there. Several homes missing roofs this morning. Debris, glass scattered throughout the neighborhood. You know, I've been talking to people who have been in this neighborhood for 10s and 20 of years, and they say that they are just stunned by what they woke up to this morning. And I want to bring in a resident here who's been in this area for about 20 years, Stefan West. How you doing this morning, brother?
I'm alive, but you know, this is probably the worst I've ever seen St. Louis City. And to anybody that's watching that wants to help, please come over here to Fountain Park area. We got a lot of people that's over here that need the resources, at least just to help clean out the street in front of their homes and things like that. So if you are available, come over to the area, help us out. I mean, I don't think St. Louis City has ever been hit like this, so
Yeah, and you know, you said you have some of the most vulnerable on your street alone, you and your brother.
Yes, we actually have a couple families that have special needs, and we have a lot of elderly neighbors over here. So a lot of them they can't get out and do, you know, the simple things like just, you know, get the debris out of the front of your house. So if you could, you know, lend a hand. I know they have another station over here on Euclid, and I believe Del Mar, the church that collapsed. I believe they have their clergy over there that's accepting donations. and things like that, water, clothing, anything you can provide to help, you know what I'm saying, we greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, Stefan, you and your brother and, you know, some other gentlemen here on this street, y'all are doing the work. I see you over there, you know, picking up the debris. So we appreciate you getting on the ground and doing that.
Oh yeah, that's what we do, man. Like, you know, I mean, it's just, I'm very passionate about my city of St. Louis, hence the shirt. You know, we love Black-owned businesses, but we definitely bonded together on our block. And we still out here working as well. It's a lot of work to do, but we definitely pulled together to help our neighbors and to help those that weren't able to get out. So
That's what everybody has to do. So yes, Yeshua, thank you. Yeah. Americans' priorities, attention, interest, bizarre. Absolutely. More focused on the Diddy trial than the obvious man-made destruction. Yeah. Not man-made. Stop it. Okay, Perry. I'll stop it. I'm sorry. Are you hurt? Some people, yeah. Extreme close intercept of the violent Blodgett, Missouri tornado, 5/16. This was yesterday. And I can't play it. It's a storm chasing channel. We'll disagree with some evidence. That would be helpful. You know, if you want to be taken seriously, disagree with some evidence. Back up your claims. So click on the link because this storm chaser, you suddenly see, I guess something hit his the driver's side window, and it is literally smashed in. I don't know if I can show it because it happens right here. Look at this. His window gone, but a whole lot of tornadoes, and tornadoes are narrow. That's the natural ones. They're rather narrow, and when they hit land, they don't go on, you know, through different states. It's kind of like the hurricane Hurricane Helene, Florida, Georgia, Western North Carolina, West Virginia. Come on, people. Not you guys, but please start questioning something. Maybe. How about it? Look at these. Look at this sky. Look at how right angled is this cloud. Wow. Looks like an extremely long frequency hit this cloud right here. Wow. My most scary time was that day in Great Barrington, and this clouds were like real low, first of all, and it looked as if the clouds were just kind of coming down to attack us. They were scary looking. St. Louis, Missouri. That home's gone. Okay. You're not talking an affluent area here. All of those homes that you saw. I don't know what they're going to do. And also businesses, not just homes, cars. People need these things on a daily basis, like a home and a business and a car, all of which are functional, operating. So, 2 tornadoes. I think it was more tornadoes in Missouri.
Be careful. I do see people driving down the streets. You do want to be careful because there are glasses scattered throughout. There's those trees, and we haven't even begun to see the response to all of this just yet. We're just up the road from the mobile command center this morning where St. Louis Fire, St. Louis Police are all on scene. I'm starting to see some neighborhood watch groups as well, blocking off entrances and exits to certain neighborhoods just because it's that bad, it's that powerful. Now, in terms of the people this morning, that's what I really want to shine a light on. I'm walking up here to a woman that I found here on the corner right by Evangeline's, which, as you know, is a music venue here, a bistro and music house. But this is Sydney Robinson here. And I asked her simply, I said, what are you doing here on this corner, you know, by yourself this morning? Sydney, good morning to you once again. Tell me why you're here.
I'm just trying to charge.
Oh,
I charge my phone to get service, just to let people know that we are right over here.
Yeah. You told me that you live just a couple of blocks down. Kind of paint the picture for me. What are your family dealing with this morning as they wake up?
So we just don't have power, down trees, down power lines. Streets are so like congested with debris that we have in the park blocks away and walk to our homes. People just outside trying to clear the streets for the Ameren to come through. We're waiting on them to put up new power lines because everything just demolished over there.
Now, you said you have ties to New Orleans, and you said something that really struck a chord with me this morning. Kind of compare for me this site.
Oh yeah, so it's like just the devastation from what happened to yesterday from Katrina, just dilapidated buildings, things knocked over, no real insight on what's going on, when we're gonna find relief, who gonna help us. A lot of people, like, homes are completely gone, like leveled homes.
Well, Sydney, stay safe. And, you know, those are the questions a lot of people are answering this morning. And we're going to make our way down throughout the Central West End because we know that there are so many more people that homes have been completely wiped out this morning. We do know that St. Louis Police, St. Louis Fire, a mobile command post is set up there in the Aldi parking lot just a block over from us. So we're hoping to get more answers from city leaders and city officials. For now,
A lot of people need help. A lot of people need help. Yeah, I'm wondering about this peridome too. Could be a troll. Seems to like to come in and disrupt the chat with nonsense, actually. It's nonsense when you're not presenting any evidence to back up your claims. And never thought about this, but Missouri drivers put countless lives at risk by parking under the Interstate 170 overpass during a tornado. That, yeah, think about. You know, so this is the interstate, and you've got an awful lot of people who can't get through because of people that have parked underneath, some bridge or whatever, and that backs up all of these cars, leaving them vulnerable to get hit by the tornado. Atmospheric circulation system and method. Okay. When we see all of those, land okanes, when I pointed out what was happening in Minnesota and they kept it circulating, Minnesota, North Dakota, for, well, about 2 days. It's not natural. Atmospheric circulation. So on radar, this is satellite, but on radar, this is what we see very often. And they can do that artificially. Methods for affecting spinning atmospheric phenomenon. All right. Yeah. A system and method for misbalancing or suppressing spinning atmospheric phenomena, such as tornadoes, land spouts, water spouts, gustnadoes, whirlwinds. Well, you can destabilize or disrupt all of what I just mentioned, all of those weather phenomena. Yeah. But they don't do that, right? So I'm going to play a few minutes of this nanotechnology for weather control. Wow. What a concept. What a concept.
Even without definitive proof, cloud seeding continues to be practiced in over 34 countries worldwide. But silver iodide and dry ice nuclei are Stone Age technologies compared to today's higher-tech particle payloads. The most amazing of these belong to a family of weather mod devices that are so small you might not see one, even if it was floating in your eye. Ranging from the ultra-tiny to the nearly invisible, these are the revolutionary micro machines that will be the workhorses of any world weather control system. They're MEMS, micro electromechanical sensors.
There are approximately 2,000 weather balloons launched globally, worldwide, every day.
Those balloons play a huge role in helping us predict and potentially control our weather. But what if we could launch 10,000 weather balloons a day, or 10 million? That's exactly the theory behind GEMS.
GEMS are global environmental MEMS sensors, a concept that we have come up with that deals with a massive wireless network of airborne probes.
The idea is to release 10,000 or more of these dust-sized probes every day from airplanes, stratospheric platforms, or satellites. Like weather balloons, the probes would monitor weather information over every kilometer of the Earth's surface at a resolution that is today unheard of.
We envisioned that the GEMS probe itself would have a bio-inspired design, something like a maple seed or a dandelion seed that actually incorporates the constructs of nature to achieve aerodynamics and buoyancy.
With an ongoing stream of millions of measurements, the accuracy of our picture of the atmosphere could improve 1,000 times over.
There's every reason to be optimistic that simply having more measurements of the atmosphere will lead to improved forecasts.
It's also possible that the GEMS themselves could be made to play an active role in cloud dynamics. In effect, cloud seeding with 1 million microscopic computers.
We could potentially use these very small devices either as cloud condensation nuclei to seed clouds the way that current weather modification is done, or potentially something even more futuristic would be to actually have the devices be active, where they could introduce some perturbation into parts of the atmosphere to actually modify the weather.
But if GEMS are heavier than air, what will happen when these millions of probes finally fall to Earth?
when the GEMS probes land on the surface, either in the water or on the land, they would continue potentially to provide surface observations.
But what about the ones that end up on your picnic table or in your hair?
At the sizes we're talking about, if you actually inhaled one or got one in your mouth or one in your eye, it would probably be no different than, say, a speck of dust or a particular particle in the atmosphere that you would get in. You'd probably sneeze it out or cough it up.
Useful as nanotechnology will be to weather observation and prediction, there's no question that it will also play a significant role in military weather operations. And it will simply be the newest weapon in a secret arsenal dating back more than 50 years.
The military? Really? Dating back 50 years? Wow. All right. Well, this is a very old video, but yeah, nanobots, payloads. Well, I'll link below to this video. In the very beginning, they also give attention to or address the very old methods that I don't even think that they're using anymore. You can shoot lasers, you can shoot, electricity into clouds and create precipitation. They don't need to cloud seed. All of the geoengineering is not about cloud seeding. It's about ionizing the atmosphere for an awful lot of these weather events, but they're also just poisoning, populations all over the world. And isn't it interesting? This guy gives his opinion. Well, if you breathe it in, or it gets in your mouth, then you cough it up or you sneeze it out. That's his opinion. Well, I will tell you that years ago, I did the research, and there were no studies, none, on the nanotechnology and the biological effects. All right. Now, I have also, and I will link below to this article, the nanotechnology. I have often referred to this article about John Hall's weather machine, which you can click on the link and listen to John Hall himself. It's only a 15-minute video, but he explains his weather machine. It's interesting at the end. I think he gets a question, or he begins to say, what they can do with his weather machine, and then he just kind of stops himself. Well, I'm not going to read the whole article. Did I put in? What did I miss? I missed putting in the video. There it is. And the author of this article, who is a research engineer, and yeah, they have their own websites where the engineers of the nanotechnology argue back and forth about the safety, but the politics and ethics of the Hall weather machine, I will, do I have time? These are those nanobots floating around in the atmosphere. It's an illustration. J. Storrs Hall, invention of the weather machine. You can read about how all of these small transparent balloons, programmable and reversible greenhouse, they can reverse greenhouse gas. I'm not going to read the whole thing. These balloons are each between 1 millimeter and 1 centimeter in diameter. made of a few nanometer thick diamondoid membranes. Each balloon is filled with hydrogen, yada, yada, yada. But there are 4 versions of the machine. You can read about it. The 4th version, well, they each get more and more dangerous. It's kind of like, well, we had 1G, and then 2G, and then 3G, and 4G, and 5G, and now 6 and 7G. Okay, well, guess what? Each G became more dangerous for life itself. What is impressive about the weather machine is that by controlling 1/10 of 1% of solar radiation is enough to force global climate in any direction we want. 1% is enough to change regional climate. 10% is enough for serious weather control. And yeah, any human design system is going to have unintended or perhaps intended bugs and negative consequences. That is why we, as professional engineering societies, nonprofit standard organizations, government bureaucracies, need to do this work to help protect the public. It doesn't seem they're very successful. All right, so there is some concern that the weather machine will accidentally cause catastrophic weather. The more advanced versions of balloons are problematic because then the weather machine wouldn't just control the intensity of solar and terrestrial radiation, but could also redirect and concentrate energy. In addition to increasing the effectiveness of solar farms, this would give more powerful and precise control over the weather. Unfortunately, energy concentration is exactly the capability that transforms the weather machine into an awesome weapon of mass destruction. The global coordination of the reflective weather machine allows balancing concentrated solar energy around the globe, making it possible to set cities on fire. By fire, I mean the type of fire caused by dropping a nuclear bomb per second for as long as you want. The potential for abuse is rather large. So fully deployed, such a weather machine could become a planet-sized telescope or laser. Small portions of such a system could be used as an effective missile defense system. So if you thought version 3 was a weapon of mass destruction, version 4 makes them, the Transformers makes them look like children's toys. I believe that this is what we're living because you can't explain the blips that we see on radar. All of these blips that, suddenly appear, look, in a line. Now, if you listen to, I think it's John Hall, or it's a supercomputer where they are literally putting in the coordinates for these nanobots to activate. Here, you're literally witnessing the activation, and they activate as supercells always. Isn't that interesting? In a line, very often you'll see, the line is either horizontal or vertical or going through an awful lot of states that you'll see it, I mean, it's like a tail of the weather front that you will see generate or manifest longer and longer and longer. Wow. That's not Mother Nature at all. Not at all. So, I guess nobody experienced any of the extreme weather. I do know one person did, but maybe they didn't want to come in, and that's absolutely fine. I guess not a lot of people feel comfortable on video. So they want us gone and the rest in their 15-minute cities. Yep. Harry Dome, I would say pretty much like 90% of the time you're in a chat. You like to start drama and then you just keep it going and going. So I don't know, maybe you are a troll. I don't know who you are. I don't know if you're female or male, but maybe take a look at that and try to stop it. So, all right. I don't know what all of these people are going to do. I don't know what a whole lot of people are going to be doing that are suffering the consequences. You know, in so many different states, you have people losing their homes to fires in Minnesota. You have people who also lost their home in Arizona, the Greer fire. You still have an awful lot of people who are suffering the consequences, and they suffer them for years, fighting their insurance companies. I think an awful lot of Americans are just giving up on FEMA. So, and that's why community is so important. It is so important. You know, help people. If you're close to these areas, you can just drive out. Helping, it actually feels good. It does. You know, you don't do it for ego's sake or, you know, for you to feel good. It sure does give purpose to your life and builds community, all of that kind of stuff that we desperately need. All right, guys. I'll see you at 5:30. Yeah, I didn't intend to do a tornado video early on, but I saw too much that, well, I felt I had to do it. They won't let anyone in. That is concerning too, because in an awful lot of places, they're initiating curfews. They won't let anyone in. So when you think about climate lockdowns, are they getting people used to the idea of government controlling? You got to stay in your house. You can't go into these neighborhoods, which means that an awful lot of people who would want to help are prevented from helping. That's not very nice. So, community is number one. You know, I mean, if you don't have any community and you don't have family and you don't have friends, you're screwed. So, and those who do have family and friends, I hope you're reaching out to try to create community, you know, for other people. All right, guys. I will see you at 5:30 for anyone who wants to show up. And I'm just so sorry for everybody who is suffering the consequences. And yeah. Another great day in US of A. Ciao, guys.